Okay, so this is the initial basic feasible solution, and the question is where to from here. We need to talk about entering variables and departing variables. What does that mean in terms of this picture? Now, first of all, let's get used to the idea that, let me just write down. So the question is, where to from here? Okay, we don't want to convert to equations, at least not yet. So we have 4 basic variables and 3 non-basic variables, which are shown as arcs. So let's get used to the idea. We need to change our lingo from variable to arc. Okay, we're going to talk about arcs. So we're going to talk about which one should be how to select the entering arc and how to select the departing arc. Well, the entering arc our choice is really, it's either going to be A, B, or C. There are only 3 non-basic arcs right now that can enter. The other ones are already in the basis. So we're going to have one of these 3 is going to enter, and we need to determine sub-criteria for the entering variable, for the entering arc. Okay. One thing we can say for sure is that the entering arc will be based on improving the solution, on reducing cost. So right now we're saying, okay, we have 30 units in this arc between F1 and W1 at the top, flowing at $900 per unit. That seems like a lot. Is there some way that we can reduce that? Which one of A, B, and C should be entering? So based on reducing costs. Now let's see what happens when an arc is added. So let's say for a moment that we take arc A, and let's say that let's go for a moment, just erase for a moment this one right here. So this is now going to change to green, and let's say we're thinking of adding this arc, making that basic. Let's say that we think that for some reason, to be determined later, that A is now going to become basic. Look what happens. We have a loop between F1 at the top, F2 the bottom, and DC in the middle. There's a loop, and that violates the spanning tree. So we have to, if A comes in, if the F1 and F2 comes in, then either F1 DC or F2 DC has to be removed, has to be taken out of the spanning tree to avoid the loop. And the question is, which one should be eliminated? So the basis for the departing arc will be based on eliminating loops. So basically we will be increasing F1, F2 if we decide to add it. It wants to grow as much as possible, and if we wanted that to grow from 0, it can only grow up to 10. But if we want that to grow, then what has to happen? In terms of eliminating this loop? And by the way, just as a preview, which is that when we go from 0, we want to increase it as much as possible. It turns out that we can only increase it to 10, and it immediately becomes non-basic. So it becomes non-basic, but the solution will change. Before 0 was flowing in the arc between F1 and F2, perhaps 10 will flow between F1 and F2, and that has consequence on the other numbers. But let's not step ahead of ourselves. That is where we're going. So the first thing, order of business, is how do we find out what the entering arc? Just as a part of the preview as well, the rule for entering arc is much more complicated to explain. The rule for departing arc will be very easy. We'll do it right on the graph, and it becomes quite simple. So now we're turning our attention to the economic side, which will be a little bit of an event. Okay.